the Honourable Lianne Dalziel.
Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Education and asks, what is her current reason for proposing to close Aorangi School?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, there are three reasons, and the reasons for my decision have always been the cost of the rebuild, a small school with a falling roll, and that there are 4 other schools within 1.5 kilometres radius.
The Honourable Lianne Dalziel.
Mr Speaker, why did the Minister tell the press that Aorangi School had pretty disappointing achievement results when this is not backed up by their ERO report? And will she now publicly correct the impression that the school is failing their students when she now knows that the students she was referring to were entering the school below the national average and achieving at or above the average by the time they leave?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, as I say, the reasons for my decision have always been the cost of the rebuild, the fact that it's a small school with a falling roll, and the fact that there are 4 schools within 1.5 kilometres. During my discussion with the chairman of the board and the principal, I did ask them why, in their rather substantial submission to me, they hadn't talked about student achievement. And, Mr Speaker, I'd say to this House, this is one of the difficulties that this government is addressing with the national standards. There is no data on students' achievement within the ministry, other than what the school cares to publish in its variance report. Other than that, there is no information, but the school itself chose not to, in their submissions to me, even mention student achievement.
The Honourable Lianne Dalziel.
Mr Speaker, did she read the report of the independent facilitator that if she decided to continue with the rebuild, she would be, and I quote, entirely in tune with the school, its community and all the organisations and agencies who work with it? And if so, who is she in tune with in deciding to close the school that is needed in this community?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, I repeat to that member, the reasons for my decision are the cost of the rebuild, the fact it's a small school with a falling roll, and that there are 4 other schools surrounding that school within 1.5 kilometres.
The Honourable Lianne Dalziel.
Mr Speaker, why did she request that the closure option be included in the ministry briefing paper dated the 5th of February this year, given that she had written to the board 10 days before that without even mentioning to them the possibility of closure?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, that member will be aware, if she's not, perhaps she could do a little homework, that around the closure of any school there is a process. So, writing to the school 10 days earlier, I could not have indicated any thoughts that I had around what was going to happen with that school.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, the Honourable Lianne Dalziel.
I think the Minister misheard my question. I asked her why did she request that the closure option be included in a briefing paper 10 days later.
I invite the member to repeat her question exactly to make sure there's no misunderstanding.
Yes. Mr Speaker, to the Minister, why did she request that the closure option be included in the ministry briefing paper dated the 5th of February, given that she had written to the board 10 days before that without even mentioning the possibility of closure?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, I'm perfectly entitled to ask the ministry for advice.
Question number... sorry?
Point of order, Mr.
Point of order, the Honourable Lianne Dalziel.
I seek leave to table the very extensive written submission that the Minister referred to from Aorangi Primary School.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection. Question number 9, Louise Upston.